And there's stories after stories after stories of people that have failed. And I'm not judging them because there's a lot of people that need help. We do need to actually develop a system and develop skills here where we can go doing that stuff. Because there are people out there that really need help. This project began in here in California. They want to face the fact because they want to keep those people unemployed, depending on the government. Because the moment that you depend on the government, guess what? You become a slave of government. But then how do we approach it? And as a church, we have to ask this question. So how do I approach it? How do I approach the fact that somebody who's being lazy with a little science and help? Because I heard it before. And I'm not judging those people, but I heard it before that when people went out there and start cleaning up their messes, or cleaning up their tents or whatever, they find 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, $30,000. Yeah. So it comes to mind, and I said, well, how do we make a judgment? The Bible says not to judge anybody when you get money. You don't loan money, you get money with. You give it to them, don't worry about it, right? But as my hard work of my labor, for my forehead, as I work hard, I have to make a decision to be a good steward and say, well, where should I sow this seed of my hard labor so it can produce something good? So I turn around and I said, go like this, I'm going to give it to this, I'm going to give it to an evangelist. We got Gordon Hoffner that we give money to, and so on and so forth. By the way, don't forget him. Don't forget him, please. Just send him a little bit of love offering. Really appreciate it. This is something that the Lord has placed in my heart. And so on and so forth, so we can continue to grow. But you turn around, and that's what is the other thing that we can do? It's just offer somebody not money, but offering what? And that's why it got to me. I was telling Alma, it got to me. As a human being, you look at it and you see, well, everybody's created for greatness, but a lot of people they excuse themselves from not working. Because I do believe, and I've seen it, where people with disabilities have jobs. Mind you, they're cutting grass, they're cleaning rooms, and so, but they have jobs. They're working. They're not dependent upon the government. They're trying to be productive. I see even disabled people having businesses and so on and so forth. So, what is the catch? What is it that why we have certain people that love to ask for money, and why do we have people with challenges having businesses? What's the key? It's the mindset, but also the law. Because these people, unfortunately, they don't like the way they do. They don't. Mind you, you got to do certain things. You got to spend your time 8 hours a day. You got to do this and you got to do that. But sooner or later, all is going to catch up with you. Again, we see this again in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 4. Lazy hands make for poverty. Poverty. Okay? Lazy hands make for poverty. But diligent hands bring wealth. Diligent. Listen to that word again. Look at these two words. Okay? Lazy and diligent. They're totally opposite. Whether you're in school, you got to work hard. If not, you're going to get failed. And if it's challenging, it's okay. But you still need to work hard, right? Am I right? You got to work hard. Sometimes you got to come up with a headache and so on. But you're learning something. You're getting out of your mind. Every time something hurts, when you actually forcing yourself to learn, it's because greatness is getting in you. And you're training your mind to think not like a lazy person, but a productive one. So you got to make sure, okay, I need to start doing this, I need to start doing that, I need to this, I need to that. But a lot of the times we find excuses not to do certain things. How many of us here have left your laundry inside of the dryer for a long time? I'm gonna be honest. Okay. My wife makes it like, yeah, you have. But what happens Well, here's the thing. What happens when I take action, I take the stuff out and I fold it and I put it away because I don't want my wife to do it. My wife is busy too. I do it myself because I appreciate what she does for me every single day. Number one, she's happy because I don't have a big pile of stuff on top of the bed. Everything's organized. You see what I'm saying? So every time you're productive about anything, including, it's a lifestyle. Listen, people are looking for people who are productive. Here's the privilege that comes into mind. You've been privileged to be given body parts so you can work. You haven't been given the privilege of demanding things that you haven't earned. You didn't earn your salvation, it was given unto you. And you received that. Now you have to, the Bible says that we have to work our salvation. How? How are we going to do it? Number one, not money. Number two, you have to realize that everything in your life, everything that you own, becomes the kingdom that belongs to you. Therefore, you're now a steward. So you got to now begin to do things better. A person who's always innovative is always to attract other people. Productive people always attract. And what I'm looking for, especially what I'm looking for in people, is actually to be productive. Okay? Not to overwork them. But as I see them, they get bigger creatively. And the people who are not working, I challenge them because the other ones have said in this study, I'm not making them different levels because people have different skill sets. And businesses establish a minimum requirement before they start talking to you. The kingdom of God is the same thing. It requires you to do a minimum requirement. Working on your salvation means loving God's commandments and following them. So being lazy is one of the things that they warn us to. So why do I say this, get up and do something? It's that you have the capability of changing things. I'm going to tell you right now, you have the capability of creating things. Before, don't follow that. Back in the 1800s, watch this, during the industrial era, many of the engineers of the big old guys that sit out there, and they told it, and there were new engineers that were coming up and so on, new inventors. By the way, they were uneducated, but they gave ideas what's going to happen. So the people who were extremely educated, extremely old, they told them, there's nothing else to be invented because everything's been invented. Boy, that's a lie. When we have our mindset, then we have to align ourselves with a limitless God so we can begin to operate. Everything that you haven't got, I bet you, is because at some point in time, laziness has got into you and you weren't productive. For example, when you play sports, you have to work hard. In your business, you have to work hard. Because what? What's the number one goal of a business? To provide a service and be number one. If you focus only to be rich, you're never going to make it. Provide a service, which means service in what? Work hard and be number one. Because with service, you'll be number one. You're providing a need with the best possible things that you can do. But it won't require to be lazy. You cannot. What is the word that I used before in Proverbs 10, verse 4? Diligent. So it requires us to actually be challenged. It requires us to actually be better. So for example, go to Proverbs 12:27. Proverbs 12:27. Look what it says. The lazy do not roast any game, but the diligent feed on the riches of the hunt. Watch. So it's called about hunting. Let's put it in that perspective real quick. When you kill something, You go out, and I mean, none of you has hunted before, but, and so on and so forth. But when you go hunt, you have to prepare. The lazy people just kill it and leave it like it is. But if you are a hunter and you just go out hunting, of course you're going to prepare the game. They call them the game. You're going to prepare the game. In other words, you take it back to your camp and you work. Because I've actually prepared game before, and it's a lot of work. We bought a pig years ago, we killed it and prepared it. My goodness, that was a lot of work. The chicharrones were great though. I'm not playing. But it took us hours to prepare the top, the loins, everything that we needed to prepare. But we bought it for $300. I remember back in the day. But there was a lot of work. It was a ton of work. But the work resulted in having a great, delicious meal. For weeks. Chuletas, ribs, you name it. We had a lot of stuff. Well, my point is, a lazy person, if you see his work, they're like, ugh. And a lot of the time, we spend money on things that we can do. Like, have you ever said, well, if you have a lot of money, just go ahead. Oh, I'll have somebody else do it because you appreciate your time. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But because now you're effective in someone else in that. And that's what, remember, hard work attracts money. Diligent work attracts money. Hard work attracts money. That's why we don't work for money. We attract money by working hard. That's the number one goal. To be creative. Billionaires think about creating things. That's all they think about. In doing it right. That's why a lot of the times in the kingdom of heaven, a lot of people are fighting for money because they don't understand that that's a poverty mindset. And that's what God gives us, the ability and the gift of giving. It's a gift. Because we acknowledge God to say, God, this is you who gave me all these talents and gifts and businesses and people and customers, because a lot of the customers and a lot of people that we deal with, we could have gone somewhere else. But there was something about you that God sent them your way. So when you begin to live a life like that, then you begin to say, Lord, how can I improve this? And God will provide whatever you need in order to make it right. But it's a mindset that we must, all of us, understand, because if not, then poverty settles in and it creeps up on you when you're living. Right? You have to pay the price for your education and look where you're at today. But you see what I'm saying? We have to pay the price in learning something new. You pay the price. You sit down and you have to educate yourself. You have to spend the time. But if somebody who does this all day and this all day will never go anywhere. You got to get up in the morning. You have to sleep your 8 hours because you got to take care of yourself. Right? So be careful with your, look at your body motion. I want you to be more conscious of your body motion. Have you ever seen the people, and I'm just saying, because you portray unconsciously what you believe. When our kids, we tell them, let's go right now, you got to do this, and they don't want to go, what do they do? So what are they telling you? And what? They don't want to do it. Sorry, guys. But it's true. Trust me. Adults do it all the time. But the proper mindset, what are we going to do today? Let's go do something. Let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to challenge. See, that's how you live. How you live with the expectation that there's something new around the corner. It's exciting. It makes your life exciting. But the lazy person will never do it. I just want to sit down and watch cut potatoes and watch Friends for 10 hours. And mind you, I don't mind doing that once a month, because I need to relax and have a good time. And then we have a conversation, we have to do it, but the rest of the time, we're gonna be productive. One of the things that I do when I get to work, that's just like, okay, let's see what I got. I got the list, I got the goals, and I'm looking over to see, I gotta sit down at my desk and see who else needs what kind of goals we gotta meet as a corporate side, as a corporate identity that we're trying to achieve many goals. So what is it that I can do positively so that way my coworkers can do their jobs while I ease off some of the things that I need to do and make it better for them. Upgrading tools, upgrading paperwork, I'm doing this and doing that, questioning people, so on and so forth, and finding more work and productivity and so on. Because as you become more efficient, then you'll become more rich. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about rich in knowledge. And once you become more knowledgeable, then you become more wise. So have you seen people when they believe they have a sport, they actually, for example, basketball players, you have to have a certain form. Baseball players, you've seen them, they put weights on them and they have a straight bar and they practice. What are they doing? They're working their muscles out, but they need to work in order to get effective. A lazy person never does that. You see what I mean? So we have to work in our skill. Find your skill, number one. Number two, find your purpose. And your purpose is, and I'll tell you right now, is to be productive. Everybody here has the capability of being productive. Have you ever seen movies of people when they go like this? Or perhaps you've done it yourself. You're just like so lazy, you're like in the bag of popcorn. Mom, can you put that in my mouth? Some people act that way. Oh, my mom's gonna wash my dishes. Well, this and this and this and that. You gotta understand that God has created you to be productive. What is the number one thing that God gave humanity first? Work. Number one. Number two, what was the other thing that number two they gave? Give him a partner. So we were created for work. Laziness is not work. Laziness is the stoppage of your future. If you look at it that way, you'll never be lazy again. Again, laziness is the stoppage of your future. The moment that you're lazy, and I'm not saying that you got to take time off. I'm not saying that. Then you got to relax and cool down, because a lot of the times you got to diffuse, because life throws you a lot of stuff. But laziness is the stoppage of your future. I think it's turning up left to right, and I got this notes up here. Proverbs 26, verse 15 says, "Sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He is too lazy to bring it back to its mouth." Let's go, do me a favor, let's go to Matthew 25. Let's go to Matthew 25. This is a parable of the bags of gold. And you see here, what does number 26 say? Verse 26. Here, let me get my phone so I can get this taken care of. I'm running out of 25. Give me 1 second. It says here. Now, talking about, it first starts, if you see at the beginning of Matthew 25, there were 10 virgins. 5 were diligent, which is a solid word in Proverbs 10. And the other 5 were lazy. Okay? Verse 14. And again, it will be, if Jesus is talking about the kingdom of heaven. Okay? And he says, and again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. Verse 15. The one he gave 5 bags of gold, another 2 bags, and another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Watch what it says, ability. Then the man who had received the 5 bags of gold went once and put his money to work and gave 5 more bags. Interesting. Put it to work. Did you hear that? A lot of the times we work for money instead of us putting money to work. It's called investment. Verse 16, the man who received 5 bags of gold went once and put his money to work, and he gave 5 more bags. Verse 17, so also the one with 2 bags of gold and gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master whose servants returned and settled the accounts with him. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the offer of the other 5 and said, Master, he said, you entrusted, listen to the words that he said, you entrusted me. See, God, whatever we have in our possession, it's been entrusted to us. In a kingdom, everything belongs to the king. It doesn't belong to the subjects. It belongs to the king. Okay? Let me state that. Okay? And he says, Master, and it says, so I have gained 5 more. In verse 21. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Watch what he says, how diligent people and hardworking people actually get more than what they deserve because of the productivity they bring in. Verse 22, the man with 2 bags of gold came and said, Master, he said, you've entrusted me. Here you go. See the mindset? Entrusting? See the mindset? And he goes, entrusted me with 2 bags of gold, and see, I gave you 2, and I gained 2 more. And the master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. And then the man who had received 1 bag of gold came in and said, he said, Master, I knew you are a hard man. You see, everybody say with me, excuses. Harvesting when you have not sown, and gathering when you have not scattered seed. So here's the word of laziness. That's another excuse for not doing anything of being lazy. It's fear. So I was afraid and went out and hid the gold in the ground, and see, here's what belongs to you. Mind you, he got returned, the master got returned what he gave. Question, was the master satisfied? No. Why? Because there was no productivity and multiplication. The kingdom of heaven is multiplication and productivity. So it says, it's master. So you, verse 26 again. So you wicked, lazy servant, he said, 25 first. So I was afraid and went out and hid the gold on the ground. See, here's what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown, and I gather when I have scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on the deposit with the bankers. See, at least he was telling them, your mindset was not a line of multiplication. You didn't want to do anything what I gave you. Because here's the biggest problem that people have. Since it's not my money, I'm not going to work for it. And that's the attitude people have. Well, then you should put my money in the deposits with the bankers so that when I return, I will have received back with interest. Put money to work. You see that? But again, it's not the servant's money. Whose is it? The king's money. So take the bag of gold from him, give it to the one who has 10 bags. He goes, give it to the one with 10 bags, and he turns around and says, for whoever has will be given more. And they will have an abundance. Kingdom mindset. See, it is written here. It's a kingdom principle to multiply everything you have for the glory of the king. That is the only way you'll see true multiplication in your life. In your finances, in your businesses, in everything. That is the only way that this multiplies. Because I realize that I don't have to pursue money. When I work hard and diligent, money pursues me. I have people telling me, Marco, with your skill set, I can pay you double to what you make right now. So I go into prayer. And I said, Lord, do you want me to do this? No. You see the difference? And it says, and it's given to you, and they will have more abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And watch verse 30. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping of garnishing of teeth. Religious folks always get spiritual, but they don't want to work for God. When God clearly demands us that everything we have has to be multiplied. Why? Look at your hands. That's an evidence that everything you touch can be multiplied by 10. If you count your feet, it's 20. Well, Pastor, that's messed up. And I said, no, it's natural. It's natural. The kingdom, everything the kingdom of God touches multiplies. Look at the universe. That's our dad who's working hard every single second. Your beliefs reflects who you are. Because you act upon it. So being lazy doesn't work. I said, it's good to have a time off, right? We work hard. We do. It's hard. It's difficult. Sometimes it is. Just go chill, relax. After work, you relax and you go home and you just have a good time. And then so on and so forth. You got to relax. I tell my folks at work, I tell them, you got to take time off for yourself. And then when it comes to rating and people are not being productive, they ask me, well, how come you give me a low rating? Because your productivity is low. All right? You don't want to get people to sit outside and drink coffee all day and eat your donuts. Well, you have 5 cars behind you have 5 cars that go all over the place waiting for you, and you got customers. What's going on with my stuff? What's going on with my stuff? Then you'll find somebody who's productive. We got you. Am I right? You manage an office. You see what I'm saying? Listen, it doesn't matter what color it is or anything else, because I think it's beautiful that God gave us different colors in humanity. I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. And it's great. It's awesome. It's effective. It gives us a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes, which is beautiful. It's God's creativity. Can you imagine the seeing of you everywhere? I'll be tired. So I think it's beautiful, and I appreciate that. The gift of meeting so many people in my life. It's a gift. Every person's a gift in my life. Whether a baby or a person who's over 90 or whatever. People I met. They're a gift. But one thing for sure, I've seen people that are 90 and they can't stop working. Have you ever noticed people that are retired and then a year later they passed away? They stopped thinking. And one day somebody was retiring. I said, "Do you have something extra after work? Like this, something, or anything else that you're a very smart man." "No, I don't." They said, "You should. Get involved with your church," I said. "Get involved in this. Just go out there and serve. You don't need to get paid." "Well, you know what? I've never considered that." Trust me, it'll continue for you to, you'll be working for the kingdom. Even more so. And watch what happens. You gotta understand, folks, that life, when he throws a monkey wrench at you, you have to know for a fact that you have to work at it. Just like the athletes continue to work hard to be their best, because what do they always say? If you're not working hard, somebody else working harder, and they're going to take the number one spot. All right? Kobe said that. Because he knew, he understood the principle of the kingdom of heaven. He understood. So don't allow yourself to be lazy. Don't allow to do that. Yeah, take some time off. Like I said, you need to unwind. You need to take it easy. But never have way too busy to spend time with God. Don't disconnect yourself from the source of all you have. That's the biggest mistake you'll ever have. Because God will give you the wisdom to put money to work for you. Because you know it belongs to Him. Amen? Let's stand up. So work hard.